Think about it like this, right? We follow our leaders. We follow those people that lead us because we're being led by them. So we're going to follow them. So we are a product of the leaders that we follow. We choose to follow. That's why I keep saying that if we put criminals into a leadership position, then we ourselves are going to become criminals because we are following criminals. That's what will happen. We will become a product of where our leaders lead us to. But the same can be said for a prosecuting attorney. They follow their leaders. Okay, they follow their leaders where their leaders lead them. We could also say the same thing about a judge. They will follow their leaders wherever their leaders lead them. So that's a very, very important concept for you guys to understand. Because when you walk into a courtroom today, that prosecuting attorney and that judge have already conspired by and between each other to advance whatever predetermined outcome they already have. They've already decided the outcome, right? And it's going to be the outcome is going to be in the best interest of their master. Now, typically that can be one of two things. If it's a family court issue or it's a civil matter, it's typically against the person that has more money, right? Because if it's against the person who doesn't have money, the state doesn't make money. So that's why, just like I talked about with Father speaking out just the other night in the podcast that we did, the doctor husband, the wife that stays at home with the children, she is fulfilling a very, very important role in the familial unit. Do not get me wrong, right? The wives are absolutely doing every bit as much of an important job and task in the development, performance, and sustainability of the family as the man that goes out and earns money for the family. So don't misunderstand me here. I'm talking about the deceptive intentions of the system, not the breakdown or the unequal responsibilities or duties of the familial unit. Husband and wife have got significant duties and responsibility, regardless of whether that wife goes out and makes money so that she can provide for the family or she's at home providing for the family. So don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the system itself, what does the system want? The system wants your money because it's a business and the business needs to make money. That's one of the requirements of any business. A requirement of business, they must make revenue. They must generate revenue. How does the government business generate revenue? Well, at the expense of the citizenry. So here's the thing. When you have two people, right? Two people that are in dispute with each other that the state is seeking to arbitrate, and they need to make money off of these two people, then they're going to side against the person that has the money fairly often, unless that person that has money is paying outright up front, right? Because that also happens a lot. That the wealthy husband will get custody of the children and do all these other things because he's already paid a significant amount of money in order to advance that. If he goes out and spends $150,000 on a law firm to be able to represent him, then he's already invested that money into the system. Therefore, the predetermined outcome is going to be, rendered in his side. But if it's a matter of two people, that has no significant investment already into the system, then the system's going to side with the side that has the money. They'll side against the doctor husband who's making a couple $100,000 a year, right? And they'll side in favor of the wife because now the husband is going to be paying money because he's the one that's able to do it. If they sided the other way, then the system wouldn't make money. So again, when you walk into a courtroom, there's always a predetermined outcome. There's always a predetermined outcome. And that prosecutor or the agent of the state, because remember, attorneys are administrative officers of the court, and the court is the state. Therefore, if you're an administrative officer of the court, you are an administrative officer of the state. Don't mix that up. It's a fact. That's why they get trained in state statutes. They get trained in state ordinances. They get trained in advancing the interest of the state. That's why you see prejudices, biases, and interest toward state desires that obstruct the administration of justice is because these people are advancing the state's interest because they are an agent of the state. But nonetheless, so when an agent of the state, right, comes into the courtroom, then that agent of the state has already got a predetermined outcome with that judge who's the judicial officer of the state. And they both work together as agents of the state to advance the interest of their master of the state. That's the doctrine of duty of master servant. We already talked about that. Servant will perform mechanical duties on behalf of his master, and in the course of his duties, he will always side with what is in the best interest of his master, the state. That's why the state wins every single time. It's because all of these agents are all working together to advance the interest of their master, the state. But nonetheless, so when the prosecutor or the agent of the state conspires by and between the judicial officer of the state to advance the interests of their master, the state, then what you can assume is that those agents are following the actions of their master because their leader is leading them in the direction that their leader wants them to go. So as above, so below. If you walk into a courtroom and the executive officer is conspiring by and between the judicial officers to advance the interests of the master, the state, they're simply doing what their master is teaching them to do. They're simply doing what their leader is leading them to do. So we can assume that there is a conspiracy by and between the executive officer of the country and the judicial officer of the country to advance the interests of the country. There is a conspiracy that exists by and between the presidency and the Supreme Court, the judicial branch. There is a conspiracy that exists to advance the interests of their business. That's why we're not getting action from those two branches of government, because those two branches of government have already got a predetermined outcome, and their predetermined outcome is to advance the interests of their business.